Okay, that was a little hard on my other cheek. Hello everyone, my name is Michael, and welcome back to some more沙耶の唄. Today, let's see Fuminori's reaction to Koji's threat. I stare at the silent phone in my hand. There's anger, of course, but something cold and heavy holds my emotions in check. The sense of danger. To be honest, I'm surprised at how calm I am. Is that Yo? Yo looks up at me apprehensively, her head between my thighs. She was attending to me throughout the call. The remaining fragments of her memory seem to have joined together, as she has regained some degree of speech. Upon realizing this last night, Saya began to teach her language once more. I assume she finds our pet's efforts amusing. Come on. Come fucking on, we just started. The pleasure from her administrations threatens to impede my thoughts. And besides, my arousal has already vanished. At first, I considered making her stop. When I gazed into her puppy dog eyes, however, I began to think, you have more pressing matters right now, dude. Stop getting a fucking... I know exactly what's going on here. Is it too early in the video to, flat out say what's going on? I feel like YouTube censors would be like, yeah, it's too early in the video to even bring up what's happening here. But I think we all know what's going on here. Thanks to Saya, I have a family once again. For the first time, I am becoming aware of the responsibility that I'm becoming aware of the responsibility that places on me. Oh, yeah, you have a lot of responsibility right now with exactly what you're doing here. Maybe you should take responsibility for your horrific actions. What the oh my fucking god. I am now the head of a new Sakisaka household, as well as its only male member. It is my duty to protect, comfort, and ensure the happiness of the woman living under my roof. Saya's been doing more to protect you. What are you talking about? Like, Saya helps you cover up for your crimes. And yeah, she's committing her own crimes, but what have you done? Like, I feel like Saya's doing all the heavy lifting here. Like, she literally transforms all your victims' bodies into food for you to both eat. She's hiding the evidence. Sorry, I had to be that guy. Like, what are you actually doing, Fuminori? I guess you did kill, oh god, what's that guy's name from the other chapter? You killed your neighbor. I forgot his name, wasn't it? I think it was Yosuke? Yeah, I think it was Yosuke. You killed your neighbor that was literally assaulting Saya, so I guess you do have that on your repertoire, Fuminori. Like, you killed that piece of shit. At the same time, though, dude. With that in mind, I know I mustn't show fear or confusion. That would only cause them distress. I entrust myself to Yo's eager touch, basking in the pleasure with one part of my mind while contemplating our current predicament with the other. Dude. It is clear that I made a grave error when I failed to finish Koji off 2 days ago. Right now, I need to set my frustration and anger aside and deal with this problem logically. It's time to leave. I have no way of knowing when Koji escaped from the well, or how much he has learned, or how many people he has had contact with since then. Now that it's impossible to know how far the problem has spread, merely disposing of Koji won't guarantee our safety. When the enemy has poisoned your water supply, you can't take the risk that even one drop might remain. Your only choice is to stop drinking the water. Instead, you could drink some Dubby. Yes, use my discount code MichaelIsRatab to also drink Dubby with me. Instead of, drinking water, like Fuminori says, you can drink some dubby. That's the only time I'm doing this bit in this video. Sorry, I had to do it. As soon as drinking the water came up, I'm like, how do I fit it? That's how I'm gonna fit in my sponsor.
ねえ、ふみのり、誰と話してたの?
Saya returns from the kitchen, where she'd gone in search of a midnight snack. She's munching on her favorite spare ribs. Purging myself at unease and impatience, I respond with a casual shrug.
ちょっと厄介なことになりそうだ。工事のやつが生きててさ。
あらま。
By breaking loose suddenly and without any trace of anxiety, I am able to avoid frightening Saya. Instead, she was merely surprised. I knew that remaining calm would work. Moreover, I am currently being pleasured by Yo. It would be hard for anyone to get too serious under these circumstances. Dude, stop getting a fucking blowjob right now. Oh my god. You have more pressing matters!
なあさや、僕たちこの家を引き払った方がいいかもな。
そうか。
Have another idea? Saya lowers her eyes and strokes her chin thoughtfully.
まあ、どっちみち鈴見さんの一家が消えたのがバレれば、この近辺も騒がしくなってただろうし。
Okay, so Suzumi. Yeah, it is Suzumi.
こういう日は来てたと思うよ。
I think his name was Yosuke Suzumi? Saya nods. I can tell that she's reluctant to leave, but at least there is no sadness in her expression. Everything will be fine. I will protect my life with Saya, just as I have up until now. I have that power. Knowing that we've overcome one problem fills me with new confidence.
大丈夫。安心していいよ。さあ、じゃあ急いで支度しよう。
We can travel light and take the Suzumi family car. I'd better withdraw everything that's left in my bank account and carry it as cash. I'll also need a weapon, something more reliable than a butcher's knife. Koji will most likely follow. He thinks that Yo can still be saved. However, I'm not abandoning this house just to run away. As long as Koji knows our location, we're stuck on the defensive. Leaving gives me the chance to regain the initiative and deal with him at a place of my own choosing. The next time we meet, I'll kill him with my own two hands. I'll make sure to wring every last drop of life out of his body. A shiver runs through me as I anticipate the battle ahead, and my bloodlust burns like orgasmic fire. I mean, I think that fire is going to be, blown out by something totally different than Koji. Alright, let's get back to Koji himself. No, we're not with Koji. We're with Ryoko right now. When Ryoko looks up, the morning sun is already streaming in through the window. Tired from hours of poring over files, she removes her glasses and massages her aching eyes. Her dreams are always filled with horror, yet the night she just spent was more nightmarish than them all, and is not over yet. She has only just set foot on the threshold. As expected, the files left by Ogai Masahiko were not the sort that Ryoko could simply pick up and read. Fortunately, Ogai had been too old-fashioned to put his trust in electronic media. If he'd encrypted his files on a computer, she have had to find a hacker to decipher them. In fact, he had not employed any kind of code in his writing. That would have been too time-consuming by hand. The method of obfuscation he did use was quite simple. Of the files Ryoko pulled from his underground lab, the majority turned out to be notes and theses from Ogai's days as a student. The important papers were the diaries and research notes that had been scattered throughout the piles of worthless scrap. At first, she was unable to understand the documents that she had found. Each sheet was covered with text on one side and blank on the other. Each line was completely unrelated to the next, making it impossible to glean any meaning from the whole. The trick revealed itself, however, while she was sorting the pages that made no sense. She found that each line continued on the same line of a different page. In Ogai's diary, for example, the first day began on the first line, then continued not with the next line, but the first line on the next page. Ah, okay. So he did some form of rudimentary cryptography. Got it. Okay. Similarly, the second day was the second line, the third day was the third line, and so on and so forth. After filling all the lines on one set of pages, Ogai had torn them out and scattered them among his other files. That's actually pretty clever. There was no regularity to how the pages were numbered, of course. Unable to locate any sort of key or legend, Ryoka had no choice but to figure out the page order manually. Despite knowing that the task would be exhausting, Ryoko set to it violently. After separating all of the loose-leaf sheets from the jumbled files, she began the painstaking process of linking pages together according to the contents of their first line. She found that Ogai had dismantled and scattered his diary each time he completed a number of days equal to the lines on one page, and had done the same with his research notes every 30 pages or so. The diary was much easier to restore, because the entries varied in length, and later pages had a larger number of blank lines. The page with only one line, therefore, was the last page of a diary, and those with the most blank spaces could be considered closer to the end. Damn, he really thought this out. Ryoko's perseverance has paid off, for she has already succeeded in restoring several volumes of Ogai's diary. As she reads them, she feels despair draining her spirit, as it has so many times before. This cursed feeling of powerlessness that comes with knowing hidden truths. Those who have tasted it once shall be beaten down by it again and again until the day they die. All secrets are connected, after all. Once you have a glimpse, even the tiniest fraction of the world's true face, you have no choice but to watch in horror as the veil rolls itself back inch by inch. All that remains is to wait for the day when insanity will crush your reason under its ever-mounting weight. I have succeeded in communicating with the organism. It shows enormous curiosity, and its intelligence is beyond doubt. See research notes for confirmed vocal patterns and body language. Its appetite for knowledge is insatiable, and its learning speed is off the charts. However, it exhibits absolutely no desire to be recognized as an individual. Its ego appears to be quite weak, suggesting a psyche wholly unlike that of a human. The speed of the organism's linguistic development is astounding. When I laughed at its mispronunciations, it immediately picked up the concept of puns. Ever since, it has been employing its entire vocabulary in an attempt to find puns that will make me laugh. Perhaps in a few days' time, we'll have learned enough language for us to communicate freely. The organism's command of spoken language is now sufficient to facilitate higher-level discourse, but although it has regaled me with questions all day, it remains unable to answer any of mine. Its reply suggests that it gained awareness only after materializing in this universe. It has no knowledge of where it came from. While I am disappointed, the fact that it has reached this level of intelligence only 1 week after starting to think tells me that there is no end to what I can learn from it. Hypothesis. It is not a naturally occurring organism, but was created by an even more sophisticated sentient life form. This would explain why it has no ego, yet possesses such a hunger for knowledge. It might be some sort of reconnaissance drone that was sent here from another world. Ryoko smiled humorously for the umpteenth time since she started reading. How wonderful it would be if she could laugh the diary off as the delusions of a madman or the work of a science fiction author. Definitely gives me a Lovecraft feel. Like, I do know that沙耶の唄does have the Lovecraftian genre attached to it, and those notes from Ogai really remind me of the narrators of some of Lovecraft's works, as well as like a little bit into Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, because his way of like thinking, as well as his way of like, you know, testing hypotheses and, you know, experimenting, kind of remind me of those stories. And yes, I do have a quick book recommendation since I just finished it. Go Tanabe makes some pretty good adaptations of Lovecraft's works. So if you're a fan of Lovecraft and want to check out a really cool manga, I highly recommend this one. Yeah, I'm just like saying a lot of things I've been reading recently because I've been kind of fascinated by the manga versions of Lovecraft's works. And yes, I do know all the problems about H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, like there's no way to go around it in the Lovecraft conversations. He does have some pretty questionable beliefs, which did contribute to his monsters. Though to be a little of a jokester here, I'm kind of glad to know that in H.P. Lovecraft's definitions of monsters, I would be considered a monster. So according to Lovecraft, since I have Levantine roots, I am an eldritch horror, and I take a lot of pride in that. Alas, she knows far too much. When she thinks back to the many horrors that Ogai brought into her life, the words before her take on chilling credibility. I have confirmed that the organism's brain power far surpasses any human's. This morning, I taught about prime numbers. After I explained the Lucas-Lemire test for Mersenne primes, it immediately began to list examples that it had calculated in its head. I don't know what the Lucas-Lemire test for Mersenne primes are. Give me 1 second, everyone. I'm looking this up. I have never heard of this. I'm looking it up. So in mathematics, the Lucas-Lemire test, LLT, is a primality test for Mersenne numbers. The test was originally developed by Eduard Lucas in 1878 and subsequently proved by Derek Henry Lemire in 1930. So it works as follows. Let m to the p power equal 2 p squared minus 1 be the Mersenne number to test p with an on prime. The primality of p can be efficiently checked with a simple algorithm like trial division, since p is exponentially smaller than m to the p power. Or, yeah, I think it's to the power. Define the sequence 8i for all I greater than or equal to 0 by... Okay. Oh god, I need to get into the mathematic mindset for this one. Oh my god. Oh, what am I reading here? Okay. Yep, okay, let's see. S to the I power equals 4 above... Oh my god. S to the second power... S to the I... No, 8 squared to the I powered minus 1 minus 2 if I equals 0 otherwise. Oh my god. Hold on. What? In mathematics, a Mersenne prime is a prime number that is 1 less than the power of 2. That is, it is a prime member of the form m to the n power equals to 2n squared minus 1 for some integer n. They are named after Marie Mersenne, a French minime friar. A minime friar? Apollinaire order, a mechanism of order of friars and nuns of the Catholic Church. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Who studied them in the early 17th century. If n is a composite number, then so is 2 to the n power minus 1. Therefore, an equivalent definition of Mersenne primes is that they are the prime numbers that form m to the p power equals 2p squared minus 1 for some prime p. The exponents... oh, that's not an n, that's a Greek number. What is this number in Greek? Is this Greek? It must be eta. Eta. Yeah, not eta. Eta. Is that eta? No, that's not eta. Lowercase ASCII. What is the ASCII? No, eta has the long... Yeah, no, eta... Yeah, that has the long, n. That doesn't have the long ASCII character N. Yeah, okay, yeah, the ASCIcode.com just shows that up. Yeah, wait a second. No, hold on. What the fuck? N? No, you're not. Are you prime? Primes with the form? Yeah, wait. What the oh my god, what? I'm so confused. Well, maybe this just shows how much more intelligent Saya is compared to us mortals. It's able to pick up this high-class subject of mathematics without a second thought. Meanwhile, for me, when I try to do that myself, I get more confused. But that's also because I hardly know mathematics, so I guess I need to learn some more mathematics to get on the same brain length as an eldritch horror like Saya. Okay. I was only able to confirm by memory up to number 10, M89, but I continued to list further examples without any trouble. I left it to its calculations, and when I returned a few hours later, I discovered that I had written down more than 70 of them. Computers all over the world are currently working to calculate Mersenne primes, but the last one I remember being found was the 39th back in 2001. Sorry, I'm going back to the online searching. How many Mersenne primes are there? 52 Mersenne primes are known according to Wikipedia. Hold on, where are you? Yeah. As of 2025, wow, I was literally on the page earlier. 52 Mersenne primes are known. The largest known prime number is a Mersenne prime. Yeah. So as of 2025, we have yet to catch up with Saya. Despite all the computers we have, despite all the advancements in computing knowledge, supercomputers, artificial intelligence, not the generative kind, the actual kind that's kind of helping us out a little bit with mathematics and science, none of them have been able to surpass an algebra horror in Japan. Impressive, Saya. Impressive. When I entered several of the results into my laptop and ran the Lucas Lemire test on them, I found that everyone was correct. The same is no doubt true of the rest. So wait, isn't Ogai a doctor? Like, a medical doctor? Why is he focusing so much on high math with this creature? Like, high concepts of math. Why is he, focusing on prime numbers with her when his research is in, biological science? Like, maybe mathematics is a hobby of his, but why is this something he brings up with Saya? After all, the organism has never shown the pathological need for respect that would lead it to lie about its accomplishments. I see no reason to doubt its veracity. If I could reveal to the world an expedient method for discovering Mersenne primes, that prize money will make me a billionaire. Of course, my current research is worth far more than any sum of money. I must keep it a secret. The organism's computational speed exceeds that of even the most powerful supercomputers. I can only conclude that its cognitive faculties are beyond anything humanity can imagine. At the organism's request, we have begun a new field of study. Despite its immeasurable aptitude for mathematics, it now desires to concentrate on sociology and the natural sciences. Perhaps our math problems are simply too elementary for it. Why did we start with math? It has shown especially keen interest in the means by which organisms reproduce and multiply, as it possesses nothing that could be called emotion. I hesitate to use this description, but when it learned about DNA, it seemed somehow excited. In fact, the organism itself seemed surprised by its reaction. When asked about the nature of the impulse, the organism has decided to label it as instinct. If this description is indeed accurate, then this is an extremely significant development. It would mean that there is a deeper level to its psyche than just the knowledge it has acquired since coming into this world. If I could use this discovery to trace its roots, I might be able to learn what it truly is. Note: candidates for the plane and world of the organism's origin are discussed in my writings on the civil key, filed separately. I spent the whole day carrying books into its room. Apparently, the organism is no longer satisfied by the knowledge I am able to impart. It should come as no surprise, considering its linguistic prowess. But the speed at which it consumes text is astounding. The diary continues for some time, chronicling the intimate relationship between Ogai and the organism. In the back of her mind, Ryoko imagines the old doctor climbing down the well in the middle of the night to hold congress with some inhuman creature in that bizarre laboratory. The image is certainly similar to the nightmares that have shattered the silence of many nights with their screams. What follows, however, makes even her worst nightmares pale in comparison. Oh no. The organism has made a very strange request. This is the first time it has asked for anything other than food and reading materials. I could hardly believe it. I knew it was gonna get to this. As soon as Saya took interest in reproduction, I knew it was gonna get to this. Ah, god damn it. Oh, it was getting so interesting, but then I remember what kind of game this was. I mean, literally the beginning of this video entails the main character getting a blowjob while he's trying to think about a strategy to kill his best friend. Oh my fucking god. It's this kind of game. I knew it was getting to this. God damn it. I can hardly believe it, but it once consumed the sperm of living creatures. This is separate from its desire for food. Once again, it is describing this impulse as instinctive. Now that it has declared itself a life form that requires the seed of males, it has begun to identify itself as female. After today, I suppose I shall have to start calling the organism as a she. Is the personality that she has begun to exhibit really just an imitation created for her amusement? Ever since she started to immerse herself in our literature, she has been acting astonishingly human. She identifies herself as female, and Ari possesses an enormous store of cultural knowledge. Is she trying to create a human identity for herself based on these? I have seen her laugh, grow angry, and today, she cried. Is she just copying our emotional displays? If not, then she is already... Is the soul something that any intelligent life form can acquire? I feel that I am witnessing something more mysterious than the genesis of life itself. Today is her birthday. Although it is a year late, I want to give her a special gift. Saya was the name of my mother's cat. In childhood, she was my sole friend and my beloved. I had decided long ago that if I were ever blessed with children, I would give this name to my daughter. Happy birthday, Saya. Let this be the name of your soul. You have earned it. Oh, that gave me goosebumps. Knowing what happens later on, that gave me goosebumps. The ability that Saya has discovered in herself is showing more extraordinary results each day. I have no doubt that she is a kind of artist. What exactly is it that she created in her body from the rat semen I gave? That is insane! I did not read that ahead of time! I was not expecting that! What? What? I was really intrigued by, the passionate story of a guy claiming this organism that he just found and, gave knowledge to. Like he was treating it as his own daughter, and then I just fucking see that line next! What the fuck? I forgot he's still experimenting. Oh my god. Oh my god. The ability of science has discovered herself showing more extraordinary results each day. What exactly is it that she created in her body from the rat semen I gave her? That is insane. That is an insane progression of dialogue. Like, I was not expecting that. I was reading it and then I just read the line, rat semen. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot what this game was for a second. Oh my god, I'm getting so much whiplash from this journal. At this point, I can only surmise that it's a type of retrovirus, a reverse transcriptase enzyme that creates exactly what she desires. The rats have been transformed by her art are so very beautiful now. The many enzymes secreted by her body and the various appendages she uses are discussed in detail in my biological observations, filed separately. Here, I will say this. By witnessing Saya perform her operations on several rats, I have gained much confidence in my theory that her body is designed specifically to manipulate the biology of other organisms. Holy shit. Ryoko looks grimly at the still unsorted mountain of research notes. When she finally manages to separate those papers, she will probably find the many other files mentioned in the diary. Ogai's biological observations, at the very least. She wants to look through those before facing the thing called Saya. Under no circumstances does she want to go into battle unprepared. She looks at her watch and sees that it's already 7 in the morning. Assuming to know Koji made no stops, he should be arriving in Tokyo about now. Now that it's too late, she wishes she stopped that stubborn fool from leaving, even if she had to shoot him in the leg to do it. Oh shit, what is Koji gonna do? Oh no, what are you gonna do, Koji? Koji pulls up 2 blocks away from the Sakisaka house and stares at the silent building. Oh shit. In the bright light of the morning, the house seems shrouded in a dark miasma, like a black hole torn out of a landscape. Is it just a figment of Koji's imagination? Every window is closed, offering no glimpse of the inside. Koji has no way of knowing whether Fuminori is home. A pedestrian walks his dog down the street, glancing back at Koji through the windshield after he passes by. Koji isn't surprised by the attention. He hasn't bathed or changed clothes since spending the night buried in mud. so he must look like a vagrant even inside his car. When he looks into the rearview mirror, he sees the haggard visage of a man with one foot in the grave staring back at him. It's hard to believe that the tired, unshaven face is really his. If he stays here for too long, someone might report him to the police. He better pull himself together and get moving. He drives slowly up to the front of Fuminori's house, quickly checks to make sure no one is around, and gets out of the car. Anyone who might be in the house probably heard the sound of the engine, but there's no point in worrying about that now. Koji walks swiftly through the gate and yard to the front door. He puts his hand on the doorknob, foregoing the bell. The time for such pleasantries has passed. Oh shit. Oh man, he's by himself. Would he be able to take on Eldracore and Fuminori at once? Like, it would be tough in general to fight Fuminori, but, you know, fighting Saya, I don't know if he can do it. Well, let's see. Well, Yosuke was able to, get Saya down, but she was taken off guard. An on-guard Saya with Fuminori, like, he goes against two different people. And Fuminori has some strength, so Koji might be in a battle, especially since he's haggard. Like, he was in the bottom of a muddy well for a whole night. Yes, he got a full night of sleep, but he looks very disoriented because of the fact that he spent a whole night in the well. The door is unlocked. The knob turns easily in his hand. Also, it's been 2 days since he got pushed in the well, so he's probably very weak right now. He puts his ear to the door and listens for any sign of life. He's acting like a thief, he realizes with some shame, but that is the least of his worries now. No sound from within. After checking the street again to make sure no one is looking, he quickly opens the door and disappears inside. An indescribable stink immediately assaults his nostrils. He's already prepared for anything, however, so rather than discourage him, the stench only sharpens his caution to a razor's edge. He has crossed this threshold many times in the past, and his memories of days spent here are still bright. So why? Why does he feel the same ominous, blood-chilling aura that permeated from Ogai's home and cabin? Anger and sorrow seize Koji's heart, as though a dear friend's grave has been defiled. Well, you might not want to check the fridge. Koji doesn't remove his shoes before entering. He knows why he's here. It is not to be polite. Every storm shutter is closed, filling the house with gloom, and he can see nothing but pitch black darkness through the open doors in the hallway. He should have brought his flashlight from the car, he thinks ruefully, then remembers that he dropped the light when Fuminori attacked him. It's still lying in the backyard of the cabin in Tochigi. The house might be empty, then again it might not. Each particle of the air seems filled with silent menace. Is his enemy lurking somewhere in the darkness? It's not hard to imagine Fuminori waiting for a chance to take him by surprise and finish what the well failed to. Koji walks down the first floor hallway, then climbs the stairs and checks the second floor too. He moves slowly and carefully, keeping his senses sharp, but feels nothing watching him from the shadows. After completing his round safely, he is convinced that the house is empty. He suddenly realizes that his right hand is touching the cold steel of the gun in his pocket. Did he intend to draw the weapon upon encountering Fuminori? Now that Koji thinks about it, his own actions seem mysterious to him. What is he planning to do when he meets Fuminori? Will he lay into him with curses and epithets? Will he force him to turn himself in? Or will he... Koji shakes his head. This isn't the time for such hopeless questions. If he keeps thinking, he'll stop moving. If he stops moving, fear will paralyze him forever. His only choice is to keep marching on. He has to close the distance to his prey. In any case, Fuminori isn't home. What form the reunion takes will probably be decided at the moment of their meeting. All Koji has to do is not hesitate when the time comes. Still, why does the whole house smell like stagnant water? It's been 3 months since Fuminori distanced himself from his friends. Just what kind of life has he been leading all this time? Oh, wait, did it change scenes? Or wait, no, it didn't change scenes. It's not all dark. He's in a dark room because I kind of see like blurs. At least I think those are blurs, or it might be my eyes playing a trick on me. Koji enters the living room and feels along the wall for a light switch. The moment he flips it on, the answer to his question is revealed. Oh. Yeah, I forgot Fuminori did that to his house. How far has Fuminori gone? Koji realizes that this is the first time he has encountered Fuminori's insanity in visible form. From the dust piled in the corners of the room, it is clear that the paint was not applied recently. How many nights has Fuminori spent surrounded by this maddening array of color? Why, if such obvious signs were available, why didn't Koji realize that something was wrong before it got this bad? Was he deaf to the dying screams of Fuminori's insanity? Was their friendship really so worthless? As he stands petrified in the unfamiliar living room, Koji directs his anger entirely at himself. If he could, he would like nothing more than to apologize to Fuminori for failing to help him through his suffering. Koji feels that he might have been able to save his friend. Perhaps he is arrogant to think so, but if so, it is arrogance born of kindness. Koji passes through the living room and opens the sliding door that leads to the kitchen. Oh no. When he enters, he finds that the most disturbing of the house's many stenches is strongest here. Blood. The room is redolent with the smell of countless layers of blood grown stale over time. He peers into the well-used sink. Around the rim, he sees faint, brownish red blotches that water alone couldn't rinse off. Even more obvious are the stains on the dish rag. Such stains are proof that the rag has been used and reused countless times. But what could have been used on to make it that sickening burgundy color? Koji stares at the refrigerator next to the counter, as though it were a monster waiting to swallow him whole. He stands motionless, until he is able to work up the courage simply to touch it. Then he steels himself, grabs a thick handle, and opens the door. First, he'll check the freezer, then the refrigerator. The freezer is packed with frozen meat of varying shapes and sizes. As each piece is wrapped tightly in frosted-over plastic, he can't tell what kind of meat it is. The meat in the refrigerator, however, has already been thawed for consumption. Oh, Jesus! Okay. Wow, I was not expecting to see it. Well, I mean, it is a horror game, and it is, like, rated AO, so I should expect some pretty nasty gore. Holy shit, though. For a while, he could only stare in disbelief at the 5 fingers beckoning to him from the back of the compartment. They are the long, slender fingers of a woman, their bluish tinge giving them the appearance of waxworks. Koji is unable to remember what Omi's hands looked like, even though he has kissed her fingers countless times. When he finished crying after his conversation with Fuminori, Koji promised himself that he would not cry again, and in fact, he does not. He regrets his decision, however. He indulged himself too early. He should have saved his soothing tears for this moment, for now he knows that truly nothing is sacred. At last, his doubts about Fuminori have been utterly obliterated. Koji pulls Ogai's revolver out of his pocket and wraps his hands around its grip like he would a charm. Its definite presence, its promise of merciful annihilation, is the only thing keeping his sanity intact. He will surely use it to kill Sakisaka Fuminori. Not for revenge, not for justice, but to make this world once more a place governed by reason. For that purpose alone, he must eliminate the anomaly. He breathes deep, exhales, then lifts his hand before his face and stares at his spread fingers. Alright, he's not shaking. He is prepared to face his new objective. Koji sticks the revolver back into his pocket and pulls out his phone. Ooh. Ooh, okay. Okay, he calls Fuminori, he calls Ryoko. Ooh. Alright, I'm gonna save right here. But I'm excited for the next time I play because I feel like we're getting to a moment. Oh, how do I save? Can I save? No, I don't want a quick save. I want to do a full-on save. Hold on. Yeah, I'm trying to end today's video. Hold on. Hold on. What? Wait, that's today. Oh, those are my quick saves! Oh, okay, yeah, my bad. Wait, that's the save load menu. Hold on. Did my quick save save? Interesting. I think my quick save saved. Interesting. Hold on. If I go to the title screen, would I lose my progress or did my save save? No, my save saved. Wait, why did I make 2? Why is it number 3 and number 4? Did I save twice? Yeah, I think I saved twice. I'm confused by the save system here. Hold on. Wait, where did my save go? Okay, so it is the quick save menu. Got it. Because my quick saves from previous videos are here. Got it. Okay.
Okay, okay.